Okay, in our last class we had discussed about labels. Okay, all the environment variables like config map secrets, config map config map secrets and labels. Also we had discussed about selectors, okay, field selectors and annotations. So today we'll discuss about some various very important things, actually objects in Kubernetes, that is rolling updates, rollbacks in deployments. Okay, so how we'll do the rolling update and rollbacks, and what is the importance of these two objects. Okay, so when we first create a deployment, it triggers a rollout. A new rollout creates a
Ranjit,
new deployment revision. Let me share my screen. Yeah, one second.
Ranjit is recording also. Please start.
Yes, it's done. Okay, so what is first? Let's see what is recreate and then rolling update. Okay, recreate versus rolling update. We'll see. So when we run kubectl describe deployment, suppose deployment name, to see the deployment details. So what happens in case of recreate strategy? All the replicates will be scaled down to 0 first. Okay, all the replicates will be scaled down to 0 first in case of recreate, and then the new replica sets scale up to the mentioned replica sets in the definition file. So I'll just explain more detailed on this. Okay, so in case of rolling updates strategy, what happens, the replica set will be scaled down one at a time, and simultaneously the new replica set scaled up one at a time. Okay, so what will happen here? Let's see the diagram here. Here the deployment strategy. What will happen in case of recreate? Suppose we have Nginx, that web applications. We have one application, or the product of 1.7 version is currently running in the production. And suppose if you want to recreate it, what will happen? We normally, what happened, if you see the deployments of people who will be working the production support and part of the deployment, they would know, right? On a weekend, what they do, they shut down all the systems, all the applications, all the services, and then they deploy the new versions of and then start the services. So in that case, what happens, that particular window, deployment window, your application, your services will not be available. Okay, application will be down. So if you see in this Kubernetes also, in the recreate strategy, deployment strategy, what will happen, Kubernetes will, suppose in replica set we have three applications or three pods are running. Okay, three identical pods are running. If you want to recreate it, deployment, if you want to deploy another versions of the same application, and if you follow the strategy, recreate strategy, what will happen, it will first make down or the scale down or stop all the applications. Okay, shut down all the applications, and then recreate with a newer versions of application. In this case, what will happen, your application will be not, your application will not available at that time. You'll see one like unavailability of your application, you see some downtime of your application. Okay, but in case of rolling updates, what happens, that is totally different. Rolling update, what Kubernetes will do normally, it will first shut down the previous version, and suppose three replica sets are there. Okay, suppose three replica sets, three pods are running. We have three replicas, three pods are running. Okay, okay, suppose we have three pods are running, and if you want to deploy a newer version, what will happen, in case of rolling updates, the previous version will get down. Okay, they'll make down the previous version and up another version, newer versions. Okay, so one pod they will shut down, the Kubernetes will shut down one pod, and in that place it will recreate another pod of newer version. Similarly, it will do another pod same time. Once this pod newer version is off, it will make down another pod previous version, and then up another new versions of the pod. So in this case, what happens? You will always see your application is up. You will not feel that application is down, because see, as we have three identical pods, if one pod goes down, still we have two pods to make our applications available, so we can always see our applications is on. Okay, so in case of rolling up, this strategy normally in Kubernetes we follow, and you may get interview questions on this also. Okay, so we these are the deployment strategy: recreate and rolling updates. Okay.
Ranjit, can you explain one thing?
Hello, Siva.
Yeah, can you explain one more?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we have two deployment strategies in Kubernetes. Normally, what we do, how you deploy our applications in deployment in productions, how you deploy a normal strategy. Normally what we follow, actually, we shut down all the applications or the product in the production environment. We shut down all the applications, all the services of the current production version or the running versions of applications on a weekend or any stipulated windows, okay, deployment window. And then what we do, we deploy the newer versions. Okay, normally what we do in case of Kubernetes, we actually follow two strategies here. One is the recreate, another is the rolling update. Two deployment strategies. Okay, one is the recreate, another one is the rolling update strategy. So what happens in case of recreate strategy? What it happens, all the replica sets will be scaled down to 0 first. That means if you see here, we have suppose 5 replica sets are running. Okay, in case of recreate we have suppose 5. What Kubernetes will do, it will make all the pods down, all the deployments down, or all the replica sets or pods down. That means your applications, whatever will be running on the pod, it will not be available. Your application will be down. There will be a downtime of your application. Nobody can access your application because none of the pods are running. The same time, what will happen, once
Okay.
first it makes all the application down, and then it will recreate the newer version of the application. So once the newer version of application is recreated, then your application will be up. So the customer the customer can now access your applications. But that is totally different in case of rolling updates. Rolling updates means what will happen, it will first, in case of rolling update strategy, the replica sets will be scaled down one at a time. So if you see here, suppose here 3 replica sets are there. So first replica set, it will make one replica set down, and it will make up another replica set. So the previous version of replica set, the older version of replica set will down, make it down. Okay, it will scale down and then scale up. In that place, it will scale up the newer version of replica set. While it is making down one and making up one, there will be still two replica sets available to serve the purpose, to serve the application. Okay, so customer will never see there is a downtime, because it is one by one, it is making down and up. If it is what down, it is scaling down one application, there will be still two replica sets available which can make available to serve the purpose. Okay, this is how it works. Now
Now is the industry, in all the industry, it will be that recreate will be not using, or how it is used? Which
uh,
in which environment, which one can be used?
see, again, it's up to your organization standard. It's up to your organization standard. But the best policies, best strategy is rolling update. Most of the companies, most of the
Yes.
organizations, they are going for rolling updates. Suppose in your organization you follow a downtime, you follow a deployment window, and within that deployment window you want to deploy it everything, and you don't want your applications will be available. then you'll go with recreate, while when your all the applications will be down at the same stipulated time, right? When we go
Okay.
for a release, there will be some agreed downtime, right? There will be some agreed downtime with the stakeholder, right? Within this time our applications will not be available as we are going to do a maintenance, right? Normally we used to get messages or see alerts or anything, whatever applications we are
Yeah,
using, right?
maintenance.
Yeah, so that also he can do that. That is why the Kubernetes actually gives, see, other technologies whatever we are using to deploy and all that does not have this feature rolling update. Kubernetes is providing
Okay.
this strategy, and which are companies are now adopting it. Okay, so if you see Facebook, if you see Netflix, they never go down, right? They never go
Yeah,
down.
that's what.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is my question.
Yeah.
If something like the downtime,
Hmm.
if people are seeing the movie,
Hmm.
if you recreated that replica, then it will be downtime for some 1 hour or 2 hours. Then
Exactly.
there will be no use.
Hmm. So
That's what I am
yeah.
thinking. How they.
No, they will be following this strategy, rolling update strategy. Okay, so if they are using Kubernetes, they will be they will be following rolling update strategy. If not, they are not using some this deployment strategy, rolling update. They might be using some other strategic or some other automations where they do the same. See, this is one of the automations, right? You can do
Yeah, yeah.
as your own choice whatever you want your applications will one applications will be down and another will be up in the same time, so you can use a script, you can use whatever you want to do in that place. Okay, so that's the beauty of this Kubernetes. So most of the companies are now following this rolling update strategy and all. Okay, that's why in the market, see, normally what happen if you are working for a company, forget about this Facebook and Netflix and this Amazon, right? Prime videos and all. What they do actually,
Yeah, yeah.
their customer actually their applications is like that. It will never go down, because if it goes down, the billions of trillions of people will be affected. Because most of the around the world, around the globe, all the customers, they are using their applications, their product, right? So it will affect them
Yes.
if they go for a 1 second down also or 2 seconds down also, it will affect the customer, so they never go down. Okay, they follow the different strategy they might be used. If they are not using Kubernetes, they might be following a different strategy which will never make their application down. Okay, but if you think about a company, organizations, okay, whatever organization we are working, we are following some downtime, right? Saturday, Sunday, weekends, our deployment will be done on weekends, right? Friday night or Saturday, that time. So you'll be banking, some banking sector, if you see, there will be, you'll get some message, right? Our applications will be down for this due to some maintenance. You'll not be access some kind of features will not be available, right? So they do like that. Okay, so let's see about upgrade. What is upgrade? And we saw about the rolling update, recreate, and rolling update. That is the deployment strategy. Normally, we used to upgrade our system also. So, what is this upgrade in Kubernetes? Okay, when we upgrade our application, the Kubernetes deployment object creates new replica set under the node and start deploying the replica set, and same time taking the pod in the old replica set following a rolling update strategy. So you'll get a questions in Kubernetes upgrade. When we do upgrade, what strategy it follows? Upgrade, what strategy it follows? Upgrade, it follows the rolling upgrade strategy. That means if you see here, 5 replica set 1 and replica set 2 are there. Okay, what happens here? When the deployment object creates a new replica set under the node and start deploying the replica set, and the same time taking the pod in the old replica set following a rolling update, what will happen? First it will, in a case of upgrade, first it will upgrade the replica sets, newer versions of replica set, and then once it is done, then it will make down the old replica sets. Okay, that means your applications will be still available, because old applications will be still there. When you upgrade to the new version, it will be there, and same time once the newer versions of replica set is done, upgrade is done, it will be make down the older versions of, and upgrade follows the rolling update, and you know what happens in the rolling update strategy. Okay, there will be another thing which is called we saw the upgrade, we saw the deployment, we saw the how upgrade happens. Let's talk about the rollback. So in deployment, in production, wherever there is a deployment, there should be a rollback plan ready, right? In production, whoever is doing deployment, there should be a rollback plan ready to follow. Okay, what happens after the application upgrade? We realize there is something wrong in the new version of applications. What happens when we do a upgrade or a newer versions of deployment? What happens normally, if there is a bug either in the development side or release side? Okay, there could be bug both side, either release side or development side. Okay, mostly development side bugs get captured in the testing phase itself, but release time bug, whatever done by the release engineer, it might happen during the release phase. So if you feel like there is some problem and some issues during the release or during the or in the newer versions, then we have to roll back immediately to the previous version, normally in the standard way whatever we currently do it, right? So what happens here, Kubernetes allows we to roll back the changes to the previous revision easily. So we don't have to, suppose you have used Kubernetes to upgrade your system to or use some rolling update strategy to update it. What will happen, you have to simply use kubectl rollout undo deployment. What will happen, it will immediately make down. If you see this deployment, the replica set 2 is it will first make the replica set 1, that means the previous versions of replicas it will make up, and then same time it will make down the newer versions of the replica set. Okay, so rollback happens it will be smoothly happen, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, you don't have to follow long procedures and all, simply you have to use that command rollout undo. Remember this command, what how the rollback happen in Kubernetes. You can just tell rollout undo, kubectl rollout undo, and then deployment name. So it will just reverse the deployment, it will just reverse the deployment. The deployment will destroy the new pod in the new replica set and bring the older one up in the old replica set. So the replication is back to the older version. Okay, older revision. This is how the rollback happens. Okay, so it's very easy. Normally what happens,
Ran-
yeah, yeah, please.
Ranjit, here one question. When you are doing the rolling update, okay, once the new pod will be up and running, all pod be also there, or how it is after down?
No, no, sorry, I did not get you. Can you tell, come again?
Yeah, yeah, there is a two replica state. Okay,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
from one is another is two. Okay,
mm-hmm,
for example, you are doing the update. Okay,
mm-hmm.
rolling update. Then one will be still there. Still, the rolling means replica state two is not yet come. Once it is come,
Mm-hmm.
that replica set of one will be down. Okay, they
Yes.
will make it is a down.
Mm-hmm.
That will be deleted. How it is like that when it is depend on the.
Yeah, that will be deleted, that will be deleted. Okay, that will not be there, that will be
Okay.
deleted. So you'll be thinking, if that is deleted, how then it will be in rollback, how it will be up, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay,
thinking that way.
yeah. So because everything is happened based on the configuration file, based on the YAML file. Okay, so the YAML file, whatever you have written the configurations, right? The configurations, it will be there in the configurations. Okay, and the Kubernetes itself stores all these informations in the etcd database, right? All the informations will be there stored in the Kubernetes, so you don't have to worry about that. When you do the rollback, what will happen, based on the configurations or based on the configuration written in the YAML file, it will just create new replica set, or in case of rollback, it will get the previous replica sets, okay, from the history or from the database, and then destroy the newer versions of the replica sets. Everything actually Kubernetes does. You don't have to maintain anything in externally or keep any record of that. Okay, So that is how the Kubernetes is in high demand, because it does itself everything. Okay.
In Git, you used to use like that. You have to revert back the command again. You have to build it, and again you have to set the
Yeah.
binary. Okay,
That's
and
yeah.
you have to
Normally, what happens in the normal old ways or standard ways of deployment? If you see, there are lots of rollback strategies you will be following, right? There will be a big rollback
yeah,
plan. Run book will be there, and you have to follow this step, that step. Then you have to roll back everything again. So it takes lots of time. Normal, the standard way also still people are doing, right? Because only very few companies they have migrated to Kubernetes. Still they are actually,
yeah,
that's why Kubernetes is in high demand, and lots of engineers requirement is there, but very few Kubernetes engineers are available. So
yeah.
see, whatever I am just giving you, it is only 30 to 40% of Kubernetes information. Kubernetes. So you have to get all these informations, more details by no, doing practice and going to the Kubernetes that I out there, professional documentations. There are, it's
Mm-hmm.
like ocean. It's a very thousands, more than 1,000 pages book. Okay, so we cannot cover everything.
Yeah.
So you have to take initiative by yourself and just go through the documentation. See, I just in one slide I just told you what is rollback and how you do it. There will be multiple pages of documentations on rollback, so you have to go and see what rollback is. Okay, so let me give you an example here, like secrets. I just told you one secrets here, and there will be lot more things about secrets. So you have to go here and see how the secrets exactly working. So if you want to go get master in Kubernetes, so it is not a small thing and small tool that you will just get all these commands and started working. No, okay, you would have to go for a lot more things. Let me just go for rollback. Okay, search for rollback here, and you'll get a lot more informations about rollback. One second. Yeah, so deployments perform a rollback on daemon sets. Okay, upgrading keyboard DM reset, a lot more things are there. uh, so it will be under deployment only. Updating deployment. Okay, so roll back, roll over. Okay, that was okay. Rolling back a deployment. Okay, so sometimes you may want to roll back a deployment when a deployment is not stable. You want to do the deployments. Okay, so here you can get lots of few other commands and other things which you can feel useful and do the practices. See, here they have given all the examples of commands, how you can do these commands and all. So you can just go through that. That's why I always tell you, just do practice, okay, and see how it works. And you can also do the checking the rollout history of deployment also. How you'll do the rollout history? So there is a command called to check the revision rollout history of the deployment. So you can find it out, the rollout history over here. So how the rollout is happened. Okay, so what happened, to see details of each revision run. So for each revision you have to use the option like hyphen hyphen revision equal to 2. So this is what, suppose you want to see what revision you want to see, you can just watch for revision 2, revision 1, or whatever you want. So and this is okay, whatever I was telling about the rolling back to a previous revision. So keeps it a rollout undo. So how this happens? So simply what happens, it will be okay when we do it. Okay, these things everything will do it, don't worry. Okay, in our practice and lab classes, I have a project organization standard project created for you. On that time I'll show you whatever the objects we covered, right, starting from the environment variables like config map, secrets, and all this. So we'll cover all that in that same project one by another. Okay, but I would suggest you to do whatever the deployment we have covered and just copy paste something from the their professional documentations, and just create a deployment, create a replica set, try to play around it, you'll get lots of issues, try to fix it and learn something from the Kubernetes documentation itself. See, they have lots of things available here with commands. Okay, so we can scale a deployment also. Okay, suppose we have three replicas running and we need immediately, suppose there is a demand goes up and we immediately need another three replicas to be added. So we can just do in the command line itself, we can use kubectl scale, then deployment name, and give the how number of replicas you want. The command is kubectl scale. And what you know actually, simply if you go, let me just log into the Kubernetes. Okay, okay, so let it start. Meanwhile, I can just cover it something here. So we saw here the, okay, so whenever you are working something on this, just make sure bookmark your bookmark your uh, pages, whatever pages. Suppose you feel this is very important, because on deployment, see guys, I'll tell you, on these deployments you'll get lots of questions, and in deployment actually organization they work on this deployment. Okay, so you have to go through all these commands and how the scaling happens. Okay, so all the details are given here. Okay, all the details are available with all commands. Okay, so okay, so now you can see here this kubectl get deploy. Okay, either you can write deployment or you can write the short form deploy. This is how you will know this. When you do practices, then you'll go to know all these commands. Like replica sets, we do small shorter from rs, right? Get rs, then it will display us the replica sets. Same things we can do it here also. kubectl get deploy. Okay, so it gives the deployment, because last class we had run this deployment, it's still running. If you do deployment, it displays also. If you do deploy, it gives the deploy also. Okay, now let's do here what we are going to do here. So kubectl get, oh, let's see. So we have three replica sets and pods are running. So as for this, let's increase the replica sets. We'll do small things here. Okay, so what we are going to use kubectl scale. Okay, kubectl scale, then you have to give the deployment name. What is the deployment name, which deployment you want to do that? So we have one deployment here, this is the deployment name. Okay, so deployment names you can see here, deployment, and replica set name you can see here, replica set, and the pod you can say here pod. Okay, and service you can see here, service. These are the object names. Okay, object name. So now I just want to use replica set. See, replicas, then equal to, suppose I'll give 6 replicas, 6. Let's see what happens. See, it says it is scaled. Now how many replicas will have I have?
Six.
Yes, so we'll have now 6 replicas of pod running. See, in replicas in deployment 6, and so replica sets, if we see, we have replicas running. Now let's scale down this one. Okay, so you can see here what options will use to scale down. Simply you can just use, instead of 6, we can use suppose 4. Okay, now if you see here, it will be, now we have 4 replicas. So you can just use these options to scale up and scale down your replicas. Okay, and make sure you always, as I told you, bookmark the page. I always do bookmarking, and you can see whatever things I am learning, and I am doing practices or doing projects or whatever I feel something maybe require for future, just bookmark it. Okay, and don't only bookmark, and save your bookmark somewhere else also. Sometimes what happen, if you delete your history, or delete by mistake, you deleted everything, your bookmark also go. Sometimes it happens, right? You'll lose everything. I already have lost most of the times all this time. So now I'm not doing the mistakes, I'm just exporting the bookmarks. There's some okay, just go here and go to bookmarks, and you'll find uh, import or bookmark manager, and there you'll find exporting the bookmarks. So you can export this in HTML format and save it somewhere else. I have lots of things I used to save it, and I take a backup of my bookmark at least monthly once. Monthly I used to cover lots of pages, so whatever do I bookmark I do, I just take the backup of bookmark and store it somewhere. Okay, fine. So you can just follow. Hope you guys will be doing that one now. Okay, so let's see about okay, these are the rollout commands, whatever we just saw all this, right? Whatever we just saw, all these commands are given here. Create, get, deployment, apply, set image to different one, rollout status, rollout history, rollout undo. Okay, to see the rollout status, we can find it out here. Now another important thing is to see, let's see how many minutes left actually. Okay, it's not displaying anything here. Maybe sometimes it will get disconnected. Okay, don't worry, if it get disconnected, we'll stop the class there itself, and then I'll share the video after that. Okay, then maybe next time we'll connect, but in between this week I'll try to fix this problem. I'll see what is happening, and maybe we'll next time onwards we'll maybe get another link for that. Okay, fine. So let's see about the restart policy. So what is this restart policy? This is very important, guys. Restart policy. By default, Kubernetes restarts or recreates pods if it completes. Okay, this can be changed. We can change that one. The restart policy can be changed by using restart policy object in pod definition file. So if you see the pod definition file, here we have this restart policy, always, never, on failure. These are the 3 policy. You can just always, never, failure. So what is this restart policy? Sometimes what happen, you need your application, suppose due to some problem and some minor things or something happens, your pod goes down, and you want the pod to be immediately restarted. So you can say here, you can mention here restart policy always. Whenever it gets fails, it will always, whether it is fails or whether it finds any box stopped or anything, it will restart it. And if you want to mention never, if you want your, when your pod is goes down or something happens, you're stopped or crashed, you don't want to start it again, you don't want to restart, because sometimes what happens, some critical applications, some database related applications or something which may cause some problem if you restart it. There could be some mismatch of data, there could be something, right? What happens, you have to troubleshoot the problem and then restart it. Then you can use never option, restart policy never. And that is on failure. If it is restart policy on failure, if you do on failure, you'll see it that happens, right, on failure. That is the options available. Now, okay, most important parts now actually is services. So services will is actually big one, and it will take more time. See, so far you guys have we okay, we have okay services, which is very important topics. One of the Kubernetes object, we will cover it in our next class. And then we'll talk about the volumes and persistence volume. This is very important part. There are two objects where they're available, like services and the volumes, and all this we'll talk about in our next class. Okay. So once we finish this, and we'll do the projects, which will be end-to-end project in Kubernetes. Also, how we can write our YAML file and do all kind of setups. Okay, so far what we have done actually, we have created our deployment. We have created the pod. So our application is now running inside the pod or the container, but we have never accessed it. We have never accessed it. How we'll access our applications which are running inside the pod from the outside world? By using the services. Okay, by using the services. What happens? Kubernetes services enable communications with various components within and outside of the applications. So it helps us connect applications together with other applications or users. So okay, we'll see all these type of services one by one, and how we can access our application using the services. In case of Docker, what was happening? In the Docker, we have to just publish the port, right? We have to just publish the container port and just publish the host port, container port to host port, so that we can easily access it by using -p options, right? -p, then container port equal colon, then host port. Then we can easily access the applications in case of Docker. But in case of Kubernetes, we have to use the object services. Okay, one of the services object, and we have a type of services available: node port, cluster IP, load balancer. Okay, there are lots of more things there. We'll discuss detailed on the in our next class. Okay. Okay. So guys, do you have any questions to discuss, or we can wind up this call and we'll meet up on next Saturday?
He said no question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ranjit, the next question.
Okay. Good. So hope you guys just understand everything, and just go just do practice at least. Um, Maybe in our next classes we'll do all kind of this, whatever commands you already know. I think you just do practices a little bit. You'll be good in touch on these commands, right? You'll remember and all. So when we do the project, that time it will be easy for you. Mhm. Okay guys, then happy weekend.
Yeah.
So enjoy your day. We'll meet up on next Saturday. Okay.